Dan Illman, Mike Beer kicking off a 50-cent late pick 4 at Saratoga on Travers Saturday with grade 1 stakes action. Race number 10 is the Sword Dancer. We're going a 3-turn mile and a half on the inner turf. $750,000 is the purse. Let's take a look at this quality field of 10. Broome, the World Traveler, is the 3-1 morning line favorite for Aidan O'Brien. Ryan Moore, second in the Breeders' Cup Turf last year. And this horse will stay all day long. And it's not like he's some plodding European type that can't get out of the gate and needs pace. He can get forward if necessary and can sit a good trip in mid-pack here.
Yeah, I think that's true about this horse. It's really an advantage that he might have as he ships back over here for the first time since that Breeders' Cup last year, Dan. He has shown the ability to even go to the front in his races if he has to. That's not going to happen here. He's not going to have to do that, but he should be able to keep himself within range if they don't go fast. And if they do go fast, like they did at the Breeders' Cup last year, then he can just sit and make one run. He ran great in that race.
Last year's winner, Gouffo, the number 6, is 9-2. The 2020 winner, Channel Maker, is 8-1. It's that tough of a race. Let's throw up the time form US pace projector. Tribhuvan, the number 7, is at his best when he goes to the front. Last year, Channel Maker denied Tribhuvan the lead in the Sword Dancer, and Tribhuvan didn't run very well. This time, Tribhuvan inside a Channel Maker, he's got to go.
Yeah, I mean, you know what the plan is with this horse. They're going to try to put him on the lead in here. It kind of feels like Channel Maker doesn't have that kind of speed that he once had, but, you never know, Dan. He's a horse who does also like to be forward. I think Tribhuvan makes the lead in here, and if he does, it gives him his best chance to win.
Adamo was beaten by Tribhuvan 2 starts back in the Manhattan when Tribhuvan just went to the front and just showed that field his heels. Adamo was kind of in behind horses in that race, and the way he finished hinted that he could be a top turf horse, and he proved it last time out in the United Nations when he ran down Tribhuvan. Really nice trip from Flavien Prat. Worked out the old in-out, got to the outside, ran down Tribhuvan, 104 buyer speed figure. This is a horse that had always hinted at potential for Chad Brown. It looks like mentally he's putting it all together.
Yeah, it does. Another step in the right direction here. His first 2 starts when they got him over here, they were okay. They weren't great. They weren't terrible, but it did seem like he had some kind of ability. He did run really well in the Manhattan 2-back, as you mentioned. That trip just didn't really work out for him. That was a good performance. Yeah, I guess last time in some ways was the time, Dan. He got a much better trip in there. It was his turn. He got up to win that race. He has never been the mile and a half. I wonder if he gets better with more distance. I also wonder how much money he takes in this race, as it looks like he's trending the right way. I could kind of go either way on Adamo in this race, Dan. I kind of wanted to fade this horse, though, if he takes money.
The number 2 is Cross Border. He is a Saratoga horse for course. He has hit the board in this race the last 2 years. You do have to wonder if he is in the same kind of form as an 8-year-old as he's been in seasons past. His most recent race was the Bowling Green. It was his first start off of a short layoff. And the New York bred, I thought, had a pretty good trip in that race. He just couldn't finish with horses like Rock Emperor. He's got to do better than that.
Yeah, he does. It just wasn't his best performance last time in that Bowling Green. He did get bumped really hard at the start of that race. But after that, he landed a really nice trip in there. He just didn't really fire his best shot. He's better than that. Whether he can rebound against a field like this one, that remains to be seen. But he loves Saratoga.
Broome is the number 3, and he was such a good second in last year's Breeders' Cup Turf behind the quality turf runner Yabir. They tried the Japan Cup after that. That's a very tough race for horses shipping into Japan, but he's come back good in 2022. I loved his win in the Hardwick 2 starts back over firm ground where Ryan Moore broke with him, kept him well off the rail up front, and he just kept on grinding and grinding and grinding and finding more. He was very good that day, and he was in a tough bunch last time out in the QE2. King George VI.
Yeah, very, very tough. Yeah, very, very tough field last time. He was good 2-back. You're right. That was probably the right spot for him, but he was good that day. They took no prisoners, put him on the lead. He was much the best. And again, going back to his Breeders' Cup, where he just showed that he can do it in a variety of ways, Dan, that pace was solid from start to finish. He sat it out. I actually felt like Irad probably went a little too soon in that race, swept by that field, opened a clear lead, and got nailed by a really good horse. He ran great at the Breeders' Cup. If he runs a race like that, he's going to be very, very tough in here.
He finished just behind Mishriff, who we all know has a ton of class, and that was last time out at Royal Ascot. Mishriff came back to run second in the Juddmonte behind Baid, who's probably the best turf horse in Europe right now. Broome, in many ways, is the horse to beat. The 4 is Cold Hard Cash. Interesting spot for the Linda Rice trained runner. Just scored an off-turf second-level allowance last time out. This would be the New York Reds' first time in a stakes race of any kind. He's okay on the turf, but it's a tough ask.
Yeah, he's hard to make a convincing case for it here. He has won going the 1.5 miles before. They ran him 3 times at Saratoga on the turf last summer. He ran well in all of those races, but he feels like he's in a little bit over his head here.
Rock Emperor won the local prep for this race, the Grade 2 Bowling Green last time out. We're going to watch that race on July the 31st, going 1 3/8, and a solid pace up for him. He swings to the outside, and Rock Emperor, a horse who's been inconsistent for most of his career, wears down the speeds and gets up. You can argue, though, that Arklow might have been best. He had a lot of trouble in this race.
Yeah, I was hoping that Arklow might reappear in the Sword Dancer on Saturday, but it seems like they're going to point him to a different race, and he's not here. I'm with you. I thought maybe Arklow was the one you wanted out of there. I don't want to knock out Rock Emperor too hard. He tends to show up and run his race just about every time. I'm just not a big fan, Dan. He feels like he needs everything to go perfectly if he's going to get the job done, and when it doesn't go perfectly, he's just not that good.
The number 6 Gufo is quality, obviously. He won this race last year. And for a longer distance turf horse, he has the ability to sort of creep up on the leaders at a key point in that race and then utilize his stamina to keep on going and grind them down. Now, he's going to get blinkers again. Blinkers on was a good move for him last year when he won the Grand Couturier and then the Sword Dancer. His last race, the UN, again, fell behind early, came with a run. His first start, the Pan Am at Gulfstream this year, it really hinted that he could be a top turf horse. And while he's run okay in his subsequent 3 starts, he hasn't reached that potential yet.
Yeah, I feel the same way about him. I was taken with his Pan Am as well. I thought that was a real step in the right direction for him. His next 3 starts, they're all okay. They aren't, great, but they're all okay. He ran fine in all 3 of those races without getting there. I also think it's at least worth pointing out, Dan, that all 3 of those races, either 1.25 miles or 1 3/8, this horse is better at 1.5 miles. He's back out to 1.5 miles here. He's just going to sit and make one run, and I think he's pretty dangerous.
The question holds for Trebouvant, the number 7. He'll be on the lead. Is 1.5 miles his best distance? We've seen him run well at 1.25 miles. We've seen him run well at 1 3/8 when he's controlling things up front, as in the Manhattan 2 starts back. Now, in the UN, we saw him on the lead. Adamo just steamrolled him in the final furlong. I talked to Chad Brown after the race. It was an oppressively hot day, and maybe Trebouvant didn't care for that. But Chad Brown told me that maybe this horse regressed or bounced off the Manhattan. I know you don't like to handicap that way, but I guess it's possible.
Yeah, there has to be some kind of excuse for that race, because it certainly wasn't his best performance, Dan. I mean, I get that the pace was solid in there and the winner came from off it, but the horse that was second was 1,000,000 to 1 and was right up close to the pace and outfinished Trebouvant. So that wasn't a good performance from him, but his Manhattan was a good one. He ran really well 2 starts back. You know what he can do when he's loose. It feels like he could get loose in here. As far as the 1.5 miles goes, I don't know. I think it's still an open question, but I don't think the 2 times he's tried it so far are races that you want to get too hung up in. As you've already pointed out, he was denied the lead in this race last year where they went fast. In the Breeders' Cup, I mean, they were flying on the lead in that spot. He just had no chance to run his best race.
Like his more heralded stablemate Gufo, the number 8 Soldier Rising will stay and stay and stay the 1.5 miles. Let's watch his prep for this race. 3rd level allowance at Saratoga on July the 31st. This race is at 1 3/16. He's down towards the inside. He has some work to do. This horse on the lead has a good advantage over him. Arad Ortiz has enough confidence, though, to get him to the outside at a crucial point, and Soldier Rising is just going to grind him down in the shadow of the wire.
Yeah, he's just going to get up. Jumped to his wrong lead there in the late stages, but he kept coming forward. He just gets up at the end. And, at the end of the day, Dan, Irad made all the right moves there to give this horse the chance to get up. He saved as much ground as he could. He got clear at the right time. This horse got up. He's got an awful lot to prove. He certainly has some talent. The 1.5 miles is at least a little bit of a question in my eyes. And, he's got that tendency, Dan, when they run him against better horses, to do a little bit of hanging. This is a horse who gets there at the end and then doesn't always get by.
The number 9 Channel Maker can still run at the ripe old age of 8. He has banked $3.6 million in his career. Let's watch his effort in the Grand Courier at Belmont on July the 8th. Mile-and-a-half race. He went to the front. He's going to take a strong late challenge from Soldier Rising, and he just fended everybody off in this race. A nice performance for Channel Maker. 2 back in the Manhattan. He didn't break. That allowed Tribhuvan to get the jump on him. In many ways, how Luis Saez rides this horse in the first furlong and a half is one of the keys to this race.
Yeah, it is. I suppose they're going to go forward with him, though, because that tends to be how Channel Maker's at his best. And you saw in that replay we just watched, Dan, that's what we were talking about with Soldier Rising, who had all the momentum down the outside, looked like he was going to get there, and then just didn't get by. Some of that credit goes to Channel Maker, though. He's just a really good horse. He will fight you tooth and nail to the wire. The mile-and-a-half is no problem for him. And at the ripe old age of 9, he can still run.
Big distance ask for the 10 Mirror Mission, who is a quality middle distance horse for trainer Ian Wilkes. He ran well in the Turf Classic at Churchill 2 starts back. He had the lead. It looked like he had the race run, but Santin is a really nice horse in his own right. He fought back and denied Mirror Mission. Santin, of course, recently won the Arlington Million. This horse was a little bit disappointing last time out in the Grade 3 Forbidden Apple. Now they're going to try him real long.
Yeah, they're going to try to stretch him out. We'll see how it works out for them. You can't deny that he's in the best form of his career right now. He's been really, really good so far in 2022. But this is a big ask, not only as far as the distance goes, but this is a really good field of distance horses, Dan. He's got his work cut out for him here.
Let's take a look at our top selections for the Grade 1 Sword Dancer. And Mike, you're going with Broome. He's way the horse to beat. He proved his quality in the Breeders' Cup Turf. He was so visually impressive in the Hardwick 2 starts back.
Yeah, I mean, he's just a logical horse to take in this race, I thought, Dan. And he's the new face. You know, I had a really tough time separating the American-based horses. I think they all sort of fit together in the group, and trips are very important to them. I'm going to take the outsider. I put Gufo second because I think this is his distance, and I think he's going to have something to run at here.
I have Gufo second as well. I have Broome in the mix. I'll know 15 strides out of the gate where I stand with Tribhuvan. He absolutely needs the lead to prevail, and we'll see if horses like Channel Maker leave him alone. He is going to be sent from the gate, likely. 3675 for Mike, 7613 for me. Excellent edition of the Grade 1 Sword Dancer on Travers Saturday at the Spa. Good luck.